other live. Let's see if anyone sees this one. If you are watching this after it posts, hi. There you are. I don't know. It totally just cut off. I'm going in my chat to tell people what happened. If you're watching this after the fact, the beginning part of this live session is in the video right before this. Hi, I am in a new video. I got cut off. I don't want to say they. I got cut off. Yo, just passing Richmond, VA. Oh, cool. Okay. Hopefully people see that. No, I don't know what happened. Okay, I think people are coming in on this one. It just totally cut off. I was so angry. Okay, cool. 1 second I'm there, the other I'm not. Ugh. Well, I had about like 10 more minutes anyway. Here I am. No, it was me. My inner conspiracy thinks this is the work of the Soros-funded YouTube. Oh, thank you, Steven. You weren't here earlier, were you, Steven? I appreciate that very much. It's so funny because I think what's happening are other people are getting notified now that I'm live on this one. Steven, if you just got here, later on after these posts, because they sort of after these posts, there's another video that's like an hour long before this. So we've been here for almost an hour. I'm sorry. It's that deep state. You're coming through now. Oh, you did? Okay. Cool. I said that he brought us all together and hating him, and when I posted that, it froze. I thought it was like, you know what? You are so right. I will say it is so funny. It's true, and it's kind of fun. It's like a little inside joke. The whole, I mean, it might be like overplayed. I don't think it is though. It's funny. The whole like, let's go, Brandon. FJB. It is kind of cool because, and I think we need that because it's just so bad. You have this administration that you feel like just does not care. And I was open-minded. You know, when Biden was elected, I tried to stay open-minded. I'm like, okay, you know what? If he does something good, I'll give that administration credit. I can't give credit to Biden because I don't think he's running the country. But if the administration does something good, I'll give credit where credit's due. And at the end of the day, like no matter who's in office, you want them to succeed because if they succeed, we succeed, right? But like I was just saying, there hasn't been one thing, and it's really coming from an administration that did so much. Whether you love Trump or you hate him, he did so much for the middle class and lower income people, so much. And coming from that to this, it's just a big 180, and it's disheartening. It really is. So it really has. It's brought people together. I was driving just the other day. I'm back. Sorry, Glenn. I don't know what happened. That video just totally cut out. I was driving just the other day, and there was a huge sign on the side of the road that said, "Let's go, Brandon." And then I was in just a random 7-Eleven the other day, and as I was leaving, there was a little sticker. Well, it was about like that big on the door leaving 7-Eleven that said, "Let's go, Brandon." So I really like how people are leaving those little things just all over the place. And it has brought people together. It's funny. Perfect t-shirt, Robert De Niro at Oscar podium. Wait, no. Did that happen? Hold on. Hold the phone. Are you lying to me? Oh, are you saying that would be funny if that happened? Or did that happen? He said F Trump. Oh. I was gonna say, what? Well, there was a video of, I didn't know, but Mel Gibson, there was a video of Mel Gibson. So Trump was at a UFC fight. This was months ago. This wasn't super recent. But Trump was at this UFC fight, and it kind of went viral because a lot of people were saying, they were chanting for Trump. I can't remember what they were saying, like, we love Trump, or I don't know what they were saying. But what's his name? Mel Gibson was there, and he like saluted, or he shook Trump's hand, or said hello to him, or did something, but basically showed that he appreciated Donald Trump, which I was really surprised about. The United States of Brandon is where we live right now. Here, I'll finish telling you what the White House is trying to do. Okay, so the White House knows that they're not getting favorable coverage, but in my opinion, it's accurate coverage because they haven't done anything. Senior White House administration officials have been briefing major newsrooms over the past week. The meetings have been led by a trio of administration officials, National Economic Council deputy directors David Carmen, and I can't pronounce that other name. And it said, I'm told the conversations have been productive with anchors and reporters and producers talking with officials. So they are trying to, the media treats Biden. The media treats Biden as bad as they treat Trump, if not worse. No, that is not true. They don't lie about Biden. They lied about Trump. That's a difference. That's a big difference. And the reason Biden is getting such unfavorable coverage is because it's so bad. They can't really hide it. Baden, he is bad. He is Baden. Gibson saluted Trump at the MMA fight. Thank you. Okay, so he saluted Trump. I couldn't remember exactly what that was. They're being honest about the Biden administration, and it's so funny because they really do, they try to, curtail their language and the way they answer questions. But the thing of it is, if they're trying to get the media to cover for things and give more favorable coverage, then maybe they should change the way they're handling their administration. Because I'll tell you right now, a lot of people do not trust the media. Like, this is a huge thing. We've talked about CNN, and if they feel like the media is being fake to them and not being honest to them and giving favorable coverage of people that do not deserve to have favorable coverage, I think that is further going to hurt the media. And I think it's a mistake by the media, because I'll tell you what, they can say whatever they want, but we have eyeballs and we have ears, and we know what's happening at the gas pump. We know what's happening at the grocery stores. We know that crime is up, and we see what's happening on the border. So if they're going to go ahead and try to cover this up and change the way they say things and the way they present it just to make this administration look good, I think that is going to further hurt the administration and also further hurt the trust that is already lacking in the mainstream media. That's why Fox News is basically the ratings king right now. CNN is going down the tank. I don't know how MSNBC is doing, but Fox News is clearly doing better than all of them. And that's why so many people turn to independent creators, because at least they are honest and they're objective. So I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea that the media is going to work to try to make things seem better than they actually are. There's a difference between accurate coverage and just plain propaganda, mean, bad, lying coverage, which is what they did with Trump. So it's not comparable, in my opinion, at all. Oh, and they're also referring to, so there was this op-ed in the Washington Post. Yeah, and it was all about how the media treats Biden as badly or worse than Trump. Here's proof. I wonder what this says. I was done with the main stuff, so I'm just going to be kind of chatting with you all. in football. Okay, so here we go. So this is the op-ed. Let's just see what he's saying. Why he thinks the media is worse to Biden than they are with Trump. It says, here's a sampling of the of atop the influential Politico Playbook newsletter over the past month. Let the Democratic freakout begin. Dems start to face the hard questions. Does the White House owe Larry Summers an apology? Other big intra-Democratic fight. The White House braces for a bad CBO score. Even the extraordinarily news that jobless claims had dropped at the lowest level in 52 years came with a qualifier, but. It isn't just political, and my impression of other outlets' coverage of President Biden have been much the same, unrelentingly negative. Was it my imagination? No, it wasn't. Artificial intelligence can now measure the negativity with precision. At my request, the data analytics unit of the information company Fiscal Note combed through more than 200,000 articles, tens of millions of words from 65 news networks to do a sentiment analysis of coverage. I would love to see them do that same study with President Trump. Jobless claims dropped the lowest in 52 years. Is that true? I'll have to read more into that. The truth channels are what? The truth channels are now the new. I didn't see what you said. If that's true, it's probably because everybody ran out of allotted weeks. Do you mean, unemployment benefits? Is that what you're talking about? I'm trying to see why this is true. Because new jobless claims fell substantially. Okay, this is Forbes. They're usually pretty accurate with stuff like this. New jobless claims fell substantially last week to their lowest level in 52 years, faring much better than economists were expecting and continuing a slew of promising developments. You know why that is? Actually, I think I can tell you why that is. Because, so you were getting to the point on unemployment where people used so much unemployment that it wasn't letting you apply for unemployment anymore. So the people that had been on unemployment since the beginning of the pandemic, you could no longer apply for unemployment anymore. So maybe that's why. Interesting. I still don't see exactly why this is happening. The previous week's new claims at the time, the lowest weekly level. All right. I'm still not seeing. Yes, they purposely underreport or black out news stories on MSN. I know it stinks that we live in a time where you have to be so careful the way you research stuff because people, and I've learned this too, the more that I do these videos, like when I'm researching for the video, I have to be careful because even, I'll give you an example, the way that people they'll do like leading headlines. For instance, this is why you really have to read stuff and understand how they will use wording and ways to spin information to sort of fit their narrative. I love giving this example. So the LA Times, by the way, the LA Times is just a garbage news outlet. The LA Times had a story, and it came out a while ago, like a few years ago, and they had a story that said um, white supremacy had racial attacks, and white supremacy was on the rise under the Trump administration in Los Angeles. And they were citing this huge report that came from the police department. So that's a very leading headline. So if you read that headline, you would think, oh my gosh, like white supremacy is on the rise, racial attacks are on the rise, and all of this stuff. LA Commie Times. So I actually read through the entire report that came from the police, and that's very misleading because actually all racial I will say fights, because it usually was between two people, all sort of racially charged aggravations, I guess, were on the rise. And what they will use as racial could be, maybe it was an argument that started over like a fender bender or a traffic thing, and two people started fighting, and then racial insults were spewed at each other. Tensions, thank you. But it appeared that among every single group, they were on the rise, like even like black on Mexican or Mexican on black or this or that. Like they'll call each other sort of like they'll slander each other racially, like while they're fighting. But I actually didn't see the evidence that it was within white. So, okay, basically, all of them were on the rise across the board, and it appeared to be pretty equal when you look at the actual studies. And the only attacks that involved Donald Trump's name were people that were attacking other people who they perceived to be Donald Trump supporters. So it was the Donald Trump supporters who were attacked. But the way that they frame that headline is that, oh, because Donald Trump got in office, then all these white supremacists are going around attacking people. But if you actually read it, it was people that attacked others who they perceived to be Donald Trump supporters, and sort of these like racially charged fights or altercations were on the rise sort of across the board, and it didn't seem like one was worse than the other one, and it seemed to be just dumb people who were fighting and then just threw racial slurs at each other. So so that's how you can write a headline that is very misleading. You can even write a story that's very misleading, but if you read the actual source and you read through it, you find something quite different, which has happened several times. You have to be really careful. The right media will hit us with fake bias news too, though. Oh, for sure. Absolutely. And I see it all the time. That's why you have to be really careful. And even like commentators that I like and commentators that I follow, they'll do like a hot take or a tweet that isn't actually true. And I try to be really careful of that, because they'll do a misleading headline too, because people want those clicks. They want that viral tweet. They want that viral story. And anger and shock is what gets you to read their information. It's absolutely true. The right does it as well. That's why you have to be so careful. And I've even been guilty of maybe sharing something that I have deleted, because once I actually investigated, and I learned this really early on, once I actually like looked into it and investigated, I'm like, you know what, that headline is very misleading, or I don't like that. But they do. Okay, cool. You read my comment. Thanks. No, you're absolutely right. People on both sides do it, because everyone is really in the same game. That's why you should always listen to people and then do your own research at the end of the day, because they're different sides, but it's the same game. You want clicks, you want that viral tweet, you want that viral video, whatever, you want the hot take. Yeah, I've shown that the right, yeah, they use propaganda too, and they use, the right does it too. They use hot button words. They'll take a small video too that's out of context and go and share it. I'll give you a very clear example of this. Here's an example. I'm going to try to explain it correctly. So there was this thing that went around that they were pole dancing classes for children. And somebody found a Facebook post of a woman that had a studio where she taught pole dancing classes. and she just started a children's class, which I totally disagree with. But you also have to understand that this actually is a thing. They look at it as gymnastics. Like I saw it on YouTube. They have competitions. It's really big in Germany, but they look at it as gymnastics, even though we have a different idea of it. I don't agree with it. I'm not condoning it or anything, but they really made this woman look bad who is introducing this into her class, which is fair. I don't agree with it, and it's wrong and ew. But the way they did it made it sound like she was just this lone pervert who was taking these classes, even though there's just a whole world of this. So I think the bigger issue is, why is this a thing in the first place? But they really went after her, and then they looked at her schedule. So she had two different classes. She had one class that was the kids class, right? And then she had another class that was called Fun and Flirty, and that was for adults. And so the way that they made this headline was, she's advertising fun and flirty pole classes for kids. But that wasn't what she was doing. Those were two different classes. She says, we just added fun and flirty, and we also added these for kids. So that's one thing where you can sort of conflate two things. It started as a fitness trend. I'm unfrustrated. Yeah, exactly. That's why I don't like it. But that's another example of where they conflated two things, and the way that they worded it made it seem like, I just like to be honest. Yes, that's all I'm saying, is I just like to be honest, and I like to be fair. And I think that conflates, or not conflates, but I think that is what takes away from the actual issue or the actual problem. That's how they normalize it. I totally agree with that. That is how they normalize stuff like that. And to me, that's a bigger issue than just attacking this one person and saying this one person is an evil, awful person, because she is a part of that sort of brainwashing of having this being normalized. There's a bigger issue going on. Yeah, I agree with calling out individuals. They should be called out. But they made it seem like she was advertising something she wasn't. Did you hear about Tim Cook? Who is Tim Cook? Let's look him up. Tim, what time is it? Okay, it's 1:16. We're good. Tim Cook. Wasn't pole dancing invented in Poland? Oh. Okay, let's read about Tim Cook while we're here. CEO of Apple. Yeah, so Tim Cook reportedly signed a 5-year, $275 billion deal with Chinese officials. The information reports Apple's CEO agreement will placate threats that would have hobbied its devices in the country. Tim Cook, chief executive of Apple, signed the agreement. Okay, Apple did not immediately respond to routers for requests from this comment. The 5-year agreement was made when Cook paid visits to China in 2016 to squash a host of regulatory action against the company. Cook lobbied Chinese officials who believed the company was not contributing enough to the local economy, and signed the agreement with a Chinese government agency, making concessions to Beijing and winning important legal exemptions. Some of Apple's investments in China would go to building new retail stores, research and development centers, and renewable energy projects. China is one of Apple's largest markets, with annual sales growth of 83% in the country in its fiscal year. As a part of the agreement, Apple promised to use more components from Chinese suppliers in its devices, sign deals with Chinese software firms, collaborate on technology with Chinese universities, and directly invest in Chinese tech companies. Wow. Makes it seem like Steve Jobs still alive, making new Q phone. Well, you know what's great? Chinese really has infected so much of our entertainment, of our sports, and now our technology. So I would like to actually read into this further, because I'm just learning about that. But to go back and film, which is something I know a little bit about. So China, and this is also why you have so many athletes that they will criticize American politics, but they won't criticize all the egregious things that are happening in China, because China is a huge market for them and they're kind of held hostage by China a little bit. And the same for Hollywood. So I'm really into film, and I follow this YouTube channel called Film Courage. And there was a man, I'm gonna finish watching it. It's a 2 hour thing, but there's this man by the name of Chris Gord. He's a film critic. He had a 2 hour video on what's wrong. It was called Dear Hollywood, and it was like what's wrong with movies today. He's very critical of the way movies are made today. He doesn't like all the big like Star Wars, or the newer Star Wars, not the old Star Wars, but all of these like Marvel franchises. And his critique is that American movies, all of these big blockbuster movies, are too corporatized at this point, and they're not. I really like what he said, and I think you'll like this point that he made too. And his point that is that movies that are made in America are not targeted for just Americans. They're targeted also, they have to be marketable in China, because China is a huge area of profit for them. I mean, China has 1 billion people. We have 340 million. So that's a big market for movies that are made in America. And he said that's also a problem with a lot of our movies, because they're not just targeted to Americans, they have to be marketable in China. And he said that makes me really sad, because that doesn't give us our own identity. Like that doesn't give us our own film identity. We don't really have an identity, because we're trying to market to China as well, because they have 1 billion people. We have 340 million. And it's just so sad to me that, what profits are, these companies are already so successful and so big, and they are still held hostage by the Chinese market, and we can't have our own identity in things. That's why I'm a huge fan of independent films, and I try to spend my money going to see independent films, renting independent films, and supporting independent films, because of for that reason too. It's sad. It's sad that we have to be. We can't just be successful. We have to be uber successful. We're not okay with just success, which there's always a theme in these videos that goes right back to Juicy Smollett. He couldn't just be happy being on a show, doing well financially, well than most Americans, having a mid-level of fame, being able to use his talents. He had to try to go to the next level. His greed and his thirst for fame got the best of him, and now he has ruined his legacy, because you can't just be happy with a little, like being just mildly successful. The invasion of Taiwan will soon wake people up, partially. Yeah, maybe. So yeah, that's really sad. You know what I did? What I did recently learn here, you'll like this. So since it's holiday shopping season, I did hear that New Balance was made in America. The shoes. It's pure greed, yeah. Yeah, New Balance, made in USA. Very cool. We are proud to be the only major company to make and assemble more than 4 million pairs of athletic Oh, cool, you guys. Yeah, and they're very proud of it. They say, we are proud to be the only major company to make or assemble more than 4 million pairs of athletic footwear per year in the USA. So they make all their shoes in the USA. That's pretty cool. There is a website called, it's USA Love List, that will list companies that make products in the USA. For their US models? Oh, okay. Oh, wait. It is true, some New Balance shoes are made in the USA. We are sad to report that, okay, most are not. On the flip side, 25% of New Balance shoes. Okay, so you're right. You have to look for their US models. Thank you for correcting me. Okay, so they're saying that they do make more than 4 million shoes here. So you have to make sure that it's a US model. Okay, so we are proud to be the only major company that assemble more than 4 million pairs of our athletic footwear per year in the USA, which represents a limited portion of our US sales. Where the domestic value is at least 70%. We label our shoes made in the USA. So you want to find their shoes that are labeled made in the USA. Our commitment to domestic manufacturing allows New Balance to employ American workers at our facilities in Maine and Massachusetts. Whenever possible, we purchase materials from domestic suppliers who employ more than 7,000 workers locally. Okay, so you have to look for their shoes that say made in the USA. That was a lot of talking. Both brands are my go-to sneakers. Cool. I used to have a pair of New Balance. I actually really liked them. Maybe I'll get another pair. All right, I think that's everything I have for today. Thank you guys for watching whenever possible. Only how many was it? It was 4 million. Okay, that's everything I have. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching. That was fun. And I'll see you later. Bye. Yes, 4 million. Bill Clinton's China Trade Act of 2000 deregulated trade with China. Oh, interesting. Okay, thank you guys. All right, I'll see you later. Bye.